Jay, what did he mean to Los Angeles? Coming there as a teenager when the franchise was going through a transition from the Magic Johnson era, trying to get back to the upper echelon. Shaq comes in, but it wasn't until those two guys got together that they were able to win championships. What did he mean to that city in terms of that team?
I mean, they really took to him, and I mean, the passion of Kobe fans. He was the Los Angeles athlete for this century, right? Really, since the year 2000, he has been the predominant Los Angeles athlete, and there have been so many greats that have come through that city over the years and represented that city. Sandy Koufax and Magic Johnson, and on and on. Fernando Valenzuela. But Kobe really, over the last 20 years, has been the person that represented L.A. and, I think loved the fans as much as they loved him. And they would be willing to do everything. We've seen how many Twitter battles have been fought on Kobe's behalf over the years. I think he was amused by the passion. But what forged that is L.A. fans have always appreciated hard work. And, it's known as a glitzy, showcase town. But fans have always valued hard work. And so not only was Kobe did he have that flair for the dramatic, and was he a very exciting player, but he was a dedicated player, a hardworking player. And so that's what really resonated with the LA fans.
J.A., the crash happened shortly after 10 a.m. local time in Calabasas. We did report, so did the Los Angeles Times, that the crash ignited a brush fire, and that made it difficult for emergency personnel to get to the helicopter that had Kobe Bryant and the others on board. You mentioned you covered 90% of his playoff games, his biggest games, biggest stages, biggest players, biggest moments. Simply put, what made Kobe, Kobe?
The drive, the determination, the absolute lack of fear, including the fear of failure. He had no fear of failure, willing to take the shot, willing to live with the consequences if he missed, but absolutely determined to go down shooting. Stubborn even, sometimes to a fault, but ultimately, sometimes your greatest qualities are your worst qualities. And in that case, everything that made him great, that stubborn quality, that refusal to lose. I think of a game that they did lose, right? When Robert Horry, the one time Robert Horry missed the shot, the one time that stands out of Robert Horry missing his shot in San Antonio, 2003 playoffs, and they were down, the game was over, and Kobe just refused and kept on scoring points and kept on driving, kept on pushing, and brought them to the point where it could even come down to a single shot. And that was a great example, even though we think of him as a winner, five championships and all that, but he never showed me more than in that fourth quarter in a game that they wound up losing. But he gave them a chance to win.
Interesting. 5-time champion, 18-time All-Star. I want to mention this with you because I know in your ESPN career and post you deal with social media, journalism, all the fans out there. We tried to ask this question to Woj, but I want to see if I can get an answer from you. As of 10 p.m. Eastern time last night in the 10 p.m. Eastern hour, he was tweeting, active on social media, congratulating LeBron James for passing him on the all-time scoring list last night in Philadelphia, wearing a Lakers uniform, Kobe's hometown, Kobe's team. What do you make of the suddenness of it all, that here we are, everybody's just on social media weighing in, it's another Saturday night in the NBA, Kobe at the forefront of it, congratulating the king, and Sunday morning this?
The reminder that it can go away so quickly, and Kobe had never been more prominent this season, right, than last night, as LeBron is passing him on the all-time scoring list. So it's strange. It's even stranger because he had been so fresh in our minds. We don't maybe think about him every single day this NBA season as he's gone on living his life. But again, LeBron had just brought him back. The NBA has been blessed in that so many of its legends are still around. When they gather the 50 greatest players from the first half century of the league in 1997 during All-Star Weekend, then I think Pete Maravich was the only one who was not alive on that list. And continuing on, we've lost a few over the years, and of course losing David Stern at the start of this year. But so many of the NBA greats are still around. The fact that Bill Russell can present the trophy with his name on it to the Finals MVP, that's a special, unique thing to this league. It's old enough to have legends, but it's still young enough that the biggest names can still be around. And to now lose one of the biggest names in the sport's history at such a young age, so prematurely, is just a tremendous blow to the collective conscience of the league. Kobe was unique in that he was a guy who had great perspective, someone who had played against Michael Jordan, came into the league when Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewings and that era, played against them, and then had been around long enough to play against LeBron and all the current generation. So he was a bridge, and his appreciation and his knowledge of the guys that he came up watching and the people even before that. It was interesting as he came up, was rising through the all-time scoring list, and he passed the likes of an Oscar Robertson or something. He would always have something to say about them and describe the way that they played, and guys who played long before he was born. And so I asked him one time, like, how did you learn about these guys? And he said his grandfather had sent him a tape when he was living in Italy, when his family was over there as his father was playing in Italy, and his grandfather sent him a tape called, VHS tape called Golden Greats of Basketball, and he would just watch it and study, and that's how he learned about the greats that came long before him. But he was such an appreciative historian of the game, took his place in the game seriously, was able to speak about it. It's not easy to speak about greatness and your place in the league, and I thought he really developed the ability to speak honestly and with clarity just about where he was and how that compared to the other all-time greats. He came in really trying to adopt and follow in the path of Michael Jordan, and I think he came to resent that a little bit as he got older, and he wanted his own identity. But he could still speak to Michael Jordan and describe him in a way that very few could, because I really believe he was the closest thing that we had seen to Michael out there.
It's well said. He spoke honestly of greatness because Kobe personified greatness. It takes one to know one.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.